we've done a poll/question. Would a defeat to Hampton be the final straw for Gary Johnson? And then some people have explained their vote. So 67.5% of you have said yes, that would be the final straw, as opposed to 32.5% who said no out of 123 votes. Thank you very much. I've got some responses. So at Smuffle1 says no, but only as disruption of finding a new manager when we have no money would be worse. He seems to be tired and lost for ideas. He only has one approach and it isn't working. At least let's work on beating the first defender at corners and crosses. Thank you, Smuffle. I also agree, like the basic set pieces, just get it right. Robert reckons we're going to win, so it's irrelevant. Come on, Yellows, he says.
Like that.
I like that, Robert. Thank you. Torbay Rover says, this is going to be the hardest tweets I've ever had to write. My heart and head say two different things. My heart loves Gary, and I appreciate the hard work he's done, like all of us. But my head says it's a results business, and we're simply not good enough. It's time for a fresh face at Playmore. I think quite a few start to feel
a lot of people will be swaying in that direction,
especially if we lose. Yeah, no,
there's a lot of love for Gary Johnson. I mean,
yeah, of course there is.
There is amongst the fan base, but it's a results business, lads.
Would he even just go if that happened? Like, it's such a big weekend for the club. Would he even just go? Oh, no,
I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't think he'd throw in the towel.
No, it's only when he's fallen out of boards that he's done that. Clubs before.
The question about resignation, which I always think, is if you were crap at your job and you weren't enjoying it, would you resign?
Oh, look elsewhere.
No, yeah, exactly. Well, maybe, but football's no different, is it? He's not just going to walk off and do something else because he's not doing very well.
I mean, you could just say that he's like, this is more of a retirement thing. Does it? You know, he could just retire after that. Because I always felt like talking about his last club, but he wasn't meant to go out like this. He was meant to go out of us in the Football League.
I'm not sure. A mutual agreement, a handshake, I can imagine, but I just don't know if it's going to happen.
But I also agree with what people have said. Like, do you trust his club? You know,
we know so little about these owners.
Exactly.
We can't tell what they're going to do. We've got no sort of
the worst thing would be
previous history of what they're going to come up with.
Exactly. Is to do what Nicholson did, and then when we sacked Nicholson, when we sacked him, and then we're like, we had no manager for 36 days. Like, if you're going to sack him, you better have someone lined up, like when you sacked Owens Hall Johnson. More replies. Christopher says, no, not yet anyway. There was a definite lack of experience and ability in the squad, and Gary Johnson must take some blame for that. I have not seen them give less than 100% yet. If so, what more could someone else likely less experience get out of them? And I agree, like a bit of it at times, there's always a chance for fresh ideas. One thing I was going to say, right, because everyone says about the blame and that, Pete Johnson, I know I brushed it last week, he's the one recruitment at a club, right? He's the one guy in charge of recruitment. He's got to take some responsibility as well. You know, like we could like dissect it, and there's been some good signings, but a lot of them have been the Bristol City.
The final word goes down to Gary, but he trusts his job, doesn't he? So it's a share of the share of the blame.
You need more than one.
I wouldn't like to blame anybody at the moment. I just feel it's a whole. Everybody is.
As a thing, they need to be looking to that system if they carry on. Like, not saying he's a bad. I mean, Football Manager says he's absolutely ridiculously good coach at the scout first level. But you know, and he's had a good career. But is it just got to the point where they've just been a bit lazy with it now? They are. I mean, the Bristol City link worked for a while. Signing ex-players like Gary Warren. I mean, Ben Whitfield was one of the best signings they made. That was different. But then look at the sort of. I suppose they might be gambling a bit now, but the recruitment's just.
It's that lack of transparency, isn't it, across the whole club, like from the owners down to recruitment. I wouldn't. Everyone's at fault to a degree. But for me, guys,
you can't just say it's the owner's fault, and you can't just say it's Gary's fault, because Gary's saying the owners are giving us the support I need. I'm happy with them. So if you support the other question, you kind of like you support the owners a little bit, I'd say. But
the other thing you would ask as well is, has recruitment for a club like ours got harder post-pandemic? Is it harder now to recruit people? Logic says it'd be easier because I guess the clamour for work is that much higher. But certainly there's been a massive drop-off. Is it maybe it's just linked to finance? Is the finance lower than it was then? But again, I mean, talking about the situation with Johnson, like I said last week, he should go. I'm not saying he shouldn't go. But again, it's a results business. We got 4 points from the first 2 games. That's 8 defeats in 11 games.
Yeah, 9 goals in 13 games. And exactly. I was looking at the stats. We haven't won 1 point where we've conceded conceded the first goal. So we conceded the first goal, we've had nothing. So
and were we to lose to Hampton Richmond, which we all hope doesn't happen, but were we to lose, it's almost like where's the line? We've kind of joked about rock bottom more than once, but actually, where is the line? If that's not the line, at what point? And if the owners came out and said, "Look, Gary's our man, and we can't afford to sack him, we'll get behind him," then we all know, don't we? But just this continual silence, another defeat. Were we to go out the cup, you would then have to start saying, "Well, where is the line?" And I'm all for supporting Gary and getting behind the club, and I'll be there supporting the lads on Saturday, hoping they win and all of that. But at what point do you say we've got to make a change? Because if we don't, we're going to be in big trouble. And that's the answer that no one knows.
Yeah. We need something to be positive about, and there's just no positivity at this club at the moment. No disrespect to Hampton and Richmond Borough. Again, you know the links that I've got with them recently, but they are 18th in the National League South. You know, they're not fighting at the top at the moment. They're not.
They go on the weekend. I didn't see.
They drew 1-1 over the weekend, 2 penalties. But if you can't beat teams towards the foot of the National League South as a National League club, then I'm sorry. But if that's not drawing the line, then how much lower do we have to sink? I mean, look at the game.
Look at the game. That video rock bottom. Oh, I'm regretting it so much now.
I mean,
I was just about to say that. You peaked too soon there, didn't you? You tempted fate. We've hit rock bottom. Oh, this is Torquay, Sam. Hold on.
I mean, let's be honest. The crowd on Saturday isn't going to be stellar, is it? You'll have the diehards there, and nervous. At the moment, for me, it just feels like I'm going in more than hope than expectation that
look at the squad at the moment, the amount of injuries we've got as well. I mean, it just seems to be every week we get another 1 or 2 injuries. It mounts up. We seem to have a substitution in the first half every game, and then somebody goes off. It's just
and that's not helping.
Even more threadbare, isn't it?
It's not helping. It doesn't help the continuity. It doesn't help. You plan a formation, you plan a system with players in a formation. Within 15 minutes, you're bringing off a left back and bringing on a winger you signed yesterday. Well, that's not going to help a successful team, is it? And I thought Hanson's taken a lot of stick. He's probably not been what we thought, but I thought he was doing okay at right wing back. He'd won some headers. He'd held his position. He'd scurried with the winger. And then he got a football full in the face again, having recovered from concussion 10 days ago.
He had that against Wealdstone, didn't he?
Yeah, proper thump in the face from about 5 yards out. And he kind of sat down and kind of looked like a bit, and they carried on for the last 2-3 minutes of the second half, and he doesn't reappear. And then you're just like, well, geez, this guy's just had concussion. Now he might have it again. How's your luck? Type thing,
Yeah, there's a little bit of an element that we're not good at the moment, but we're not getting much luck either. So classic sort of bottom of the table.
You make your own luck. The points we have just been lucky anyway. We shouldn't have 9 points. As we were saying before we come on. We haven't dominated one game yet. We had spells against Scunthorpe, and that was about it.
Yeah.
He's struggling for answers at the moment. He's struggling to find a formation that works. He's struggling if the board, players, it's all a struggle. If
the board did come out, and say, "Oh, Gary's our man. We're going to back him to the hill," then for me, no problem with that. Like, I'll back him. I still back Gary. I never want to see Torquay do poorly, and I'm always going to back the lads, but if you lose on Saturday, I'm sorry, I just can't defend it. I mean, I can barely defend it right now.
I've got a few more replies. I agree with all that. Craig says the final straw should have been a few weeks ago. Not sure why we're leaving it so long. We needed a minimum of 4 points against Scunthorpe, and Maidenhead, we got 1. That should have been the final straw. If we beat Hampton, that's saving this job for another week against the side that probably our current scores level, which is in National League South. FM Story 17 says there will be a point where if this continues, Gary is sacked. I think a lot of fans are already there. I worry who will want the job next. Gary seems as good as we're going to get at this point. Not sure what the answer is, but a lot of outcomes don't look good in my view. Again, both of them very reasonable. We've got one more, Bob. Thanks for your nice comments last week, Bob, by the way, and a few of the other ones. Got to put that in there. I think I'm most unchanged from last week. Lots of better options, a lack of better options, sorry. I think there's a tipping point where you have to change manager on the principle if results are continue to be bad. Don't think we're at a point quite yet, nor do I think the board are either. And we've got one more reply from @ruiningfootball. Says, was told today that board have discussed this position, but we owe him wages that we can't afford to pay him off. Might not be true.
Yeah. Again, I I guess it's also possible they've given him the next 2 games, get through in the FA Cup, beat Altrincham in the league, which is, let's face it, it's a tough game for us against anybody, but that's a game we have to win, with where they are in the league. Get 2 positive results on that, we can start to move forward. And if you don't,
but even Altrincham have sort of turned it around a bit now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Everyone will into the weekend. Hampton, what can we expect for them? It's just
Come on then, Tom.
Well, what can I say other than, from last week? They're up for it. They'll feel that they can beat us. I'm expecting they'll bring a decent number with them for the occasion. I mean, me and my Hampton mates making a weekend of it, and we have to win. No ifs or buts. We have to win this game.
I feel like we're underdogs at the moment.
Yeah, I would say
it's embarrassing if they don't win.
I think Hampton's away record is better than their home record at the moment.
Good.
Which, sorry if you don't want to hear that, but
it makes some difference.
Great. Can't beat them. Thanks, amazing.
And they did beat us in the league, didn't they? I remember that game. Alex Fass got caught out of his front post.
Yeah, I mean, again,
well, that's what we look forward to, then, isn't it? Brilliant.
Yeah,
18th in the National League South, and if you can't beat them, then who are we going to beat this year? Going forward from this, it's the FA Cup. Anything can happen. They're going in.
No, we haven't, have we?
They're going. I mean, listening to their manager, he says he's got all the videos that he needs, and to be honest, it's not going to take much.
Yeah, it's like me last week going just cross it.
Yeah, but I'm fearful at the time of recording. It depends. We might bring some more players in. You never know. And it's all going to come down to whether these new lads are cup tied or not. Because if they are, then
any new players that come in are just going to be young lads, aren't they? We're not. Well, I might prove me wrong. Bring players back to me when an experienced National League striker scored a hat trick on his debut. But all the players that we bring in are going to be like Collie was at the weekend, like De Silva was at the weekend. They're going to be young lads who clubs want to loan them out to get them games. They win. I don't think Sinclair Armstrong was probably wanting a 5-year loan experience in terms of somebody who came in and you thought, whoa, crikey, get him in the team. And I don't see we're going to have any.
That's all we can hope for at the moment. It's only October the 10th. It feels like it should be later in the season because we've exhausted a lot of the players. We seem to have about 100 injuries. It's just loans needed. It just seemed to have got to that point so quickly. It's desperation.
Would you say it's the biggest game of the season for us so far?
It's the biggest game for the club so far. I think the biggest game of the season was a Scunthorpe game.
A poor result on Saturday and a lot of change.
I think in context, it's a big game given the league situation and kind of where we are and where the fan base is with the management team and the ownership and everything else. I think it's a big game in that sense. I mean, at the end of the season when we've made the playoffs and we lost to Hampton Richmond in the first round of the FA Cup, who's going to remember that? They're not, are they? Sorry, fourth qualifying round. But in the right now, it feels like the biggest game of the season because the consequence of losing it feels pretty major, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we're still only 1 or 2 results from our season becoming better, aren't we? But can we trust these guys to actually get those results? Last year, we could feel them coming, couldn't we? We thought they will come.
Well, last year, we were still a class above the bottom teams, weren't we? We were still a class above them. We would.
But you had players who you could say, well, they'll do something. Little will bring a goal out.
Little will turn up. Yeah.
Doesn't feel like that right now, does it?
No.
Well, I've been asked this week, are you worried? What's your gut feeling? And I was like, oh, God. I'm a little worried, but still the season.
They're doing this properly. They're staying over on the Friday night. I mean, they're going to be prepared. They're going to be ready. Yep. I think it's how we approach this game. If we approach it as we're National League and we should be beating them, then that's dangerous. You need to respect the opposition. And despite them being quite low in the table, I still think their position's a bit false for them the way they've played. But according to my mates, they struggle to score goals. So maybe we'll get some
replay. Penalty shootout.
I don't want to replay. I don't want to have to volunteer. I don't want to have the volunteering to keep.
I think we'll win the game because you can't think anything else. I never turn up thinking we're not going to win the game, because why bother going if you turn up to watch us lose?
This is why you're not doing well in the predictions league.
This is absolutely correct.
This is why I'm near the top.
It is again to my thanks for that, Dom. Who's top of that, by the way? Oh, yeah, all right.
Can you put a hashtag happy clapper sign underneath?
Well, no, it's just not in my makeup to predict that my team are going to lose. Why would I go if I've predicted they're going to lose? What's the point? So I'm a little bit heart, not head, admittedly. But I mean, crikey, if you can't go turn up thinking you're going to win that game, then geez, why it really is desperate. But I do worry about the crowd, though. I do worry about the crowd, because for season ticket holders, cost of living, I know a lot of people who go to every single home game. Thank you, Sam. Who go to every single home game, and a lot of them aren't going. Or I could pull in a favour to finish work early, but frankly, I'm not going to bother.
You start looking around and saying, "What could I spend the money on?" Ooh, there's that.
20 quid on a match day out is unfortunately worth a lot more than it has been in the last few years for us all, isn't it? So, and that will come into it. I mean, I don't know if I mean this seriously, but is there a danger of a sub 1,000 crowd possibly?
I think
we'll
break 1,000.
Yeah,
I think they bring
FA Cup, 1,300, I think.
I know it's FA. I know it's the qualifying, but I think FA Cup still brings FA Trophy won't break 1,000 if we get home side. But
if I'd be disappointed if it was under 1,200.
What will Hampton bring? Will they bring a couple hundred or?
I reckon they'll bring about 150.
They're bringing everybody, Tom. Jeez.
Everyone from Hampton, yeah. All the volunteers. All
the Tom's mates are coming.
Hi, guys, if you're watching.
But, he hasn't got that many friends, Chris.
Yeah.
Don't be silly.
But they're bringing a couple of minibuses down.
Will they bring more Richmond as
well? There's quite a few of them. There's quite a few of them staying over the weekend.
Richmond are too posh to come down, aren't they? I've been to Richmond, jeez.
But they're a very well-run small club. Maybe punching a little bit above their weight, some would argue, but it's not that they'll be up for it. Again, there's absolutely zero pressure on them. They'll see it as a chance to advance. For us, it's just win at all costs. If we draw,
not on Saturday, it isn't, because there'll be a replay, won't there? So it's the time you got to win.
You don't want that extra game, Tuesday night. I imagine if it does, it'll be the following Tuesday, and then the altering against a late kickoff, so we'll be behind everyone else. And
that's on BT as well.
BT 5:20. So if
that's a good point, we could be even further behind by then, couldn't we? Because everyone else would have played. Good point.
But
have Hampton got any players that we would know kind of historically from playing against them before they got any players out of the National League who've kind of dropped down a level?
Good question. None that off the top of my head.
I remember when I went there the year when we won the National League, so they had Chris Dixon playing from up front, who was a striker who kind of appeared and scored against us at various different teams.
I'll have a quick look on there.
I'll have a look.
I can't. There's none there that I recall that had any links to Torquay. I could be wrong. I probably am, but I think they've got someone with a really good long throw as well, and they've got a guy who can score penalties. I think they've scored 6-7 penalties already this season. So
we haven't had one. We've not had one penalty.
No.
We've not had one penalty shout, I don't think.
I mean, Corey Andrews dived off the halfway line for kickoff once. That's as close as we've got.
I think we've only spent about 5 minutes in the opposition's penalty area in these other 13 games, haven't we, Chris? I mean, it's not a lot of time to gather your momentum there.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I've already been reminded of when they were last down and played us and beat us 2-0. I mean, again,
Owen's ball.
We said in the last episode, didn't we? Not soon after that, Owen's left and Gary came in. I mean, it'd be awful if it was a defeat to Hampton.
Anyway,
but that's not going to happen. We're going to smash them. We're going to smash them 5-0. So it's all good. I have some motivation.
You said we did the league by 20 points. Nobody's been taking your
10. I keep revising it down week in, week out. But
oh, do you? Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, he's just pre-planning for next season, National League South.
But yeah, what's your
predictions? What is your actual prediction then, Tom?
2-1 Torquay.
Chris?
3-1.
1-1.
Bloody hell, Tom.
Replay.
And I thought Sam was the miserable one.
2-1 Hampton.
Oh,
bloody hell.
Get him off. He'd be kicked off if he didn't have all the IT knowledge in this thing. Get him off.
My brain said like 2-0, but I just got this gut of us going 1-0 up, and we're going, oh.
You can tell he's going to say something in jest because he's ruffling his hair.
And then I just have this really nightmare vision.
Yeah.
This really
I get accused of being the miserable one, Sam. It's you, all these negative.
No, I used to be.
We're all the miserable ones this season.
Yeah, I was going to say, find a happy Torquay fan. Jeez.
I have this vision that this nightmare kept me up awake last night that Hampton's going to score 2 goals out of nowhere, and then it's going to be absolute, oh my god, chaos.
Well, it won't be pretty, will it? Let's be honest. If we lose, however many are there, if we lose the game, it's not going to be pretty at full time, is it? However it happens.
If it does go to replay, though, come on down. I'll let you in.
Cool.
Hopefully, no one from Hampton will be watching.
Come on down. The price is right.
Yeah, I'll let you in. Well, there's an incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
no, we won't need a replay. We'll have a nice home tie in the next round by this time next week after the draw.
Yeah,
Carlisle.
Yeah, Exeter away.
Exeter away. Yeah.
Nicholson derby.
Oh, imagine that. Yeah.
But hopefully
getting that way end.
Yeah.
That young coach at Exeter City is doing quite well, actually.
Anyway,
no comment.
Cheers for enjoying this new double episode format that we've decided we're doing. So basically, it's going to be split in halfway through. And thanks for watching.
Are we going to release them at different times as well to like keep people in suspense?
Yeah. Don't forget, Sam. Hopefully, we'll be me and my Hampton mates will hopefully maybe do some document our weekend together.
Yes, we're going to be doing a joint video of the official Hampton mates of Tom. One runs the Twitter account for Hampton, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Cool.
Don't get too excited, Tom.
Clearly, I don't mean this, but there is just they're like 0.001% of me that does think to see Tom next week if we have lost. There'd be a tiny part of me that would find it funny, but clearly that's the stupid part of me. But it would be. We look at him; he looks terrified already. He's only Monday.
As soon as that draw was announced, I've been shitting myself ever since. I've been bigging it up for all these years. Oh yeah, how we smashed the National League South. Oh, we're a football league club in the making, and now, no hope. We'll see. Wait and see.
When you say you're doing videos, is this when we're going to do one of those like football vlogging things where it's just like 3-0 Hampton? We've got the ball.
I guess.
We should meet before and afterwards as well.
Yeah, however,
do a thing. We'll make a little video of their weekends, our weekends, and so we're all going to be standing together because Dom's not in Bristol this week. So we'll have some fun. Whatever happens, we'll have fun.
Just to make it clear, I will be in the Torquay end, not the Hampton end. So, but I will have the Hampton shirt on standby should we lose.
Yes, I was going to say, yeah.
Sure you will.
And then you'll never see me on Torquay Talk again.
No.
So
we're recruiting.
The video.
If you know a fourth member, if you need to be the Ringo Starr because George Best has gone, then we'll be
George Best.
George Best. George Best has gone.
Make sure that gets in the final edit, Sam.
My favourite.
That is our intro right there.
Was George Best. That was fun.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the bench because I'm going to bring the boys. Unfortunately.
Boo.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. I don't think they need to hear the words that were coming out of your mouth if we lose, Sam. So
no, sure.
Filthy is.
Yeah. Can't believe I've said I'm meant to be the musician here, and I run a music account, a channel, and I've said George Best. I'm tired. It's been a long day. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on TikTok as well. We're getting a lot of views on there, so thank you.